Show the Shirt is off the cuff. Thank you. Welcome once again to the show. This is Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. I am your host, Joe the Shirt, and this is my show, Off the Cuff. It's thus Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. Now, for those of you who tried listening to my last show, my most sincere apologies to you guys. It was brought to my attention by one of my listeners that it was complete garbled electronic mess. You couldn't make out a damn thing I was making out, and then I went and checked it. Mind you, I did all my pre-show checks just like I do all the time to make sure everything's running, just like I did today. And I don't know what happened. I ended up sounding like a robot that was vomiting on the air here. So my apologies. Hopefully that is not the problem we're having today. Unfortunately, there was nothing I could do to save that other show. So we'll probably be covering some things from that show here, but mostly new stuff. So here we are. Today's show is called Say It Isn't So, Bill Cosby. Say it isn't so. It isn't so. Say it isn't so. Bill Cosby once again being accused of rape. Not just rape, but roofing young women and then having sex with them. And then they wake up and wonder, where am I? Where's my underwear? Why is Bill Cosby here? That's what we're going through here. Now, I got a couple of clips here for that. Official statements being made here. Let me see. According to this, Bill Cosby is going on the attack, though. The former star of The Cosby Show and I Spy has been accused by multiple women of sexual assaults alleged to have occurred in the mid-1980s. Last week, the Washington Post published a first-person story by a woman who said Cosby had drugged and raped her in 1985 when she was a 17-year-old aspiring actress. Cosby's lawyer, John P. Schmidt, had this to say, quote, "Over the last several weeks, decade-old discredited allegations against Mr. Cosby have surfaced. The fact that they're being repeated does not make them true. Mr. Cosby does not intend to dignify these allegations with any comment. He would like to thank all of his fans for the outpouring of support and assuring them that at age 77, he's doing his best work. There will be no further statement from Mr. Cosby or any of his representatives." Okay. And I got to tell you, the news media and the social media ran with it, man. They are all over it. It's gotten so crazy that right here in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, you know how sometimes people will post like weird, pictures of whatever on like telephone poles and power, and light poles and lanterns and all that, and on people's walls. There are pictures all over my neighborhood of Bill Cosby's face with the words "rapist" all over it. And it's led to some interesting backlash here. Now, before I go any further, you have to understand that all of these allegations are well beyond the statute of limitations for this crime. Believe it or not, here in the state of California, the statute of limitations for rape is only 6 years. So basically, you can commit rape in California, and if nobody catches you after it's reported 6 years, after it's reported, 6 years after it's reported, you can get away with it. Now, some states differ. Some states they go by when it was reported, which could be that they reported this week. Actually, that may not apply anymore. But here in California, statute of limitations is in fact 6 years. So nobody's bringing criminal charges against Bill Cosby. Now, I know that in a lot of states, this is a fact though, if the person involved in the rape, the victim, the alleged victim, is a minor at the time of the rape, a lot of times the statute of limitations is extended, but we're still talking about, over 30 years, about 30 years ago for this woman, 1985, I think. And that statute of limitations has come and gone, even for the 17-year-old girl. But mind you, there's also a bunch of others out there. Now, you also have to remember here is that just because the statute of limitations for the criminal liability has expired, not necessarily for a civil court. Okay, we have two different type of court systems in this country. One of them is the civil court. That's how O.J. Simpson got fucked over. And I don't mean that he got railroaded or he was taken advantage of. I'm just saying he got fucked over because he lost pretty much everything he had. Because while the criminal aspect of the case, the criminal jury found him not guilty of the murders, a civil court did find him monetarily responsible for the deaths of his ex-wife and was it Ron Goldman, or was that the kid's name? Anyway, and so that's why they were able to just take everything away from him, make him sell everything. And I remember watching that case, people going to the auctions and buying OJ shit and then setting it on fire on the spot. I was like, holy shit, man, that was a collector's item. I would have kept that. That's a Heisman shit. In any case, let's see what else we got here on Bill here. Oh my God, let's see. According to this, let's see. Allegations of sexual assault following a weekend radio broadcast in which the famous television father silently refused to address the issue. After this, these accusations came out. There's been, like I said, there's been a lot of backlash for him professionally. Actually, a TV show that he was working on has been, a new TV show he's working on has been shelved. They've canceled it. Was it TV Land has stopped airing episodes of the Cosby Show? Where he played Heathcliff Huxtable, no, and the Huxtable kids and all that shit. And Netflix as well. And Netflix was planning on airing a special on Bill Cosby. Now that he's 77 years old, and they've canceled that as well. And I'm calling bullshit on this. Now let me be straight here. I don't know whether or not Bill Cosby is guilty of drugging and raping young women back in the 70s and 80s or when. I don't know. But I do know he's been accused. And I do know that in a previous case where he was accused, it was settled out of court for a monetary amount. But now all these other cases coming up, women are coming forward left and right. And, everybody, I don't know what they're looking for. I'm going to guess money, because like I said, there's no one's going to be filing criminal charges against Bill Cosby anytime soon. Like I said, statute of limitations is coming on. But, I think it's wrong that he's being punished without there even being a court case, without there being a trial, without even a civil trial, for God's sakes. So I'm calling bullshit on that one because everybody's just trying to distance themselves from Bill Cosby, and I think that's a hypocritical slice of bullshit right there. No proof whatsoever. Okay. And quite honestly, if Lisa Bonet doesn't step forward, then I really don't believe it. Because if I'm Bill Cosby and I'm going to start molesting young women, I'm going to start with Lisa Bonet back in the late 80s, early 90s Cosby Show. That bitch is fine, all right? If I'm going to drug and molest anybody, it's Lisa Bonet. That was inappropriate. Oh my God! I'm getting some feedback here. You guys hearing that? I think it's coming. I think it's actually coming from the computer itself. Well, let's move some stuff around here. All right. Yeah. I'm getting some feedback. Change the gain on this sucker. All right, move that over a little bit. And like I said, I really am truly hoping that you guys are able to hear me right now without all the interference that we got on the last show. Okay, what else has we got here on good old Bill here? Let's see here. That's actually the long and the short of that particular story. It reminds me a little bit of that whole case against Kobe Bryant so many, many, many years ago. and where that hotel worker accused him of raping her, and that went by the wayside. That disputed. And no, you know what? I believed Kobe Bryant way more than I believe Kobe Bryant was innocent of the entire thing. I truly do believe that the sex was consensual. Of course, I can never know because I wasn't in that room. It was just Kobe and some blonde white chick. But do I think it's possible Bill Cosby did these things? Absolutely, without a doubt. You know, we're talking about a very famous man in a position of great power and wealth and notoriety. I mean, he was a very famous person, and and he's got his own TV show. He's touring the country. And he's got movies going on, and it would kind of, it wouldn't surprise me that young women would be lured by him into his dressing room or whatever, and end up having sex with him. Is it possible that he drugged them? Yes, absolutely. But so far, it's possible, but I'm still not quite willing to believe it. Now, one of the reasons that a lot of these women said that they did not come forward sooner is because, well, who'd believe them? I'm like, well, if you didn't think they'd believe you back then, what makes you think anybody's going to believe you right now? And I get it. You know what? A lot of times when it takes just one person to step forward, and then everybody else gets the courage to step forward. It's like it's like the slow clap at the end of like some really dramatic scene of a movie. Where one person just starts going, and then everybody starts going. No, it's like that. Like I said, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm not saying that he did do it. I'm just saying that it bodes a little suspicious. That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm going with there. And before we go on break, you know what? Let's do celebrity birthdays for November 20th, the year of our Lord, 2014. Not too many celebrity birthdays for today that I found interesting. So I got 3 of them. So that's what we're going to go with. Let's see. Vice President Joe Biden is 72 years old. NBA star Carlos Boozer is 33 years old. And hot chick extraordinaire, classic hot chick extraordinaire, Bo Derek is 58. Right on. Way to go, Bo. Damn, that bitch is still fine. Even at almost 60, that bitch is fucking fine. That's right, I called her a bitch. What about it? And before we go on break here, this is a story I wanted to do the other week. Apparently, the FBI has been pressuring Muslims and leaders of mosque to report what they believe is suspicious behavior of their parishioners to the FBI. So, yeah. According to this, Muslim leaders nationwide say the FBI is pressuring some Islamic community members and religious leaders to spy on fellow Muslims as part of a government effort to combat extremism. In California, Texas, Minnesota, Ohio, Florida, and other states reporting unannounced visits by FBI agents, according to the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, C-A-I-R, the nation's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization. They're worried that the civil rights of numerous imams were being violated as the religious leaders were asked to meet with FBI agents who then pressed them to inform on members of their congregations. Quote, it's happening all over the country, said Ibrahim Hooper, a Washington-based spokesman for CAR. The agents are approaching these communities' leaders at mosques with basic questions that quickly turn into something different, pressure to become informants. The FBI would not comment on this report. Well, fuck no. Why would they want to do that? They wouldn't want the enemy to know what they're up to, would they? Time for a break. Today's music is brought to you by, Nikki Lindsay King. Their first song was Making Me. Here's the next one, Fade Away. Joe the Shirt is off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. If you happen to live here in Los Angeles, happen to live here in LA County, have you ever wondered just how much garbage is on the beaches of LA County? Well, here's a little something. Let's see. According to the last year's Coastal Cleanup Day, volunteers picked up more than 10 tons of trash in just 3 hours from LA County beaches. Now, what do you think made up most of this trash? Well, this is what came up here. Of all the trash found, 18,308 cigarette butts, 4,446 food wrappers, 2,940 plastic bottle caps, 1,564 straws or stirrers, and 1,110 metal bottle caps. I'm thinking that seems kind of small. But that was 10 tons worth of garbage that they found in our beaches. And people wonder why we don't go swimming. Oh, my God. What else is going on here? I talked a little bit about the age of consent the other day. Not that you were able to hear any of it, but, reason I bring this up is because an LA Unified attorney was trying to protect LA Unified from charges by being brought on by a former student from a case that had happened about 5 years ago. In this case, a 14-year-old girl had become sexually involved with her math teacher for the length of about 5 months. Now, of course, she then sued. All right? And the attorney for LA Unified argued that as soon as the school boards, LA Unified found out what was going on, they immediately put a stop to it. It's not as if everybody knew. Other teachers no one came forward and said, "Oh yeah, I knew about it, or I suspected it, or I saw suspicious behavior." Nothing like that happened. And so they were trying to argue that they were not liable for this because obviously if they had known anything about it, they would have stopped it immediately. Well, we all know that's not going to hold any water for anybody. Whether or not it's true doesn't really make a difference as to whether or not they knew. The fact is that it happened under their watch. All right? You'll get blamed for the things you don't see as much as the things you do see in this world. Now, LA Unified came into trouble when one of its attorneys said or made a statement along the lines that the girl was mentally, emotionally capable of giving consent, and that she was well aware of what she was doing, and had already had previous sexual relations with others, and so this was nothing new. And you really can't go around blaming LA Unified for this when she's just as equally to blame as the teacher involved. Now, obviously, legally speaking, that doesn't hold any fucking water at all. By definition, a minor cannot get consent to sex, not even with another minor. So for those of you out there, you parents out there that have a daughter, she's like 15, 16 years old, and she's having sex with her boyfriend. Okay, and her boyfriend could be brought up on charges for statutory rape, right? But remember this: if the boyfriend is a minor as well, officially speaking, she is also guilty of statutory rape. Okay? Minors are not mentally capable of giving consent under the law. That's what it says. And minors are certainly, certainly not capable of giving consent to an adult, especially not to an adult that means anything to them in any way. For instance, say a teacher, a pastor, a relative, somebody, anybody of any sort of authority over them, Because in that case, it could be argued that they were coerced into a sexual relationship where they felt as if they didn't give in to the sexual overtures of this adult, that they may be punished, or maybe something else bad would happen to them, or maybe nobody would believe them, or maybe they just wanted to get approval from this adult. So no, a minor legal cannot give consent. Now, I've spoken with a lot of women who had sex with adult men before they were of the age of consent. Some as young as like 12, okay? And when I say men, I'm not talking like, she was 12 and he was 18. No, we're talking to like guys in their 30s and guys in their 20s. And in one case I know of, somebody's grandfather, all right? And so, and these women more often than not tell me that, they're okay with what happened. They don't think that they were abused physically or sexually, emotionally, whatever you want to call it, and that they were as much a part of what happened as the guys were, and that they would not change what happened because what happened made them the persons they are today. Which I always argue, well, that's not necessarily a good fucking thing, is it? I'm sorry. Everybody always talks about how, all these, that they, how much they like the person they are today, and they wouldn't change a thing about their past because it made them the person they are today. And I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to bet that if I was getting ass raped when I was 8 years old, and it made me the person I am today, not the person I am currently right now, but say I was ass raped on a regular basis when I was 8 years old, and then I grew up, I don't think I'd want to be that person. I think way too many people just accept the idea that this is the best version of themselves that there ever could possibly be. And I'm like, well, maybe it's the best version of the person you can be based on your history. But you know what? If your history was a little different, you could have been a much better person. You could have been president, or maybe something important. So yeah, it brought questions to me about what is the true age of consent. Because in this country, not that long ago in this country, people were still marrying off their 12-year-old daughters to, old men, in those days being like 30 or 40 years old, because, that way, she'd have somebody to take care of her, or maybe they could join farms, or, it was very normal, and in some parts of the world, it still is, so, and like I said, you grow up in a very sexist society. Every society is sexist. Every culture on the planet is sexist. They are. We have different expectations of boys and of girls, okay? Every man on this planet hopes his son gets all the pussy possible. Every parent on this planet hopes that their daughters learn how to hold a nickel between their knees, all right? If you're wondering what that means, just think about it for a second. And I don't... I'd like to believe I'm a more liberally progressive human being, that if I had a daughter, I'd be just as encouraging of her, getting laid as I would my son. Or if I, or maybe if I encourage abstinence in one, I'd encourage it in the other. But let's be real. No, I wouldn't. I want my son fucking all of your little girls and my little girl remaining my little girl her entire life, which is how most dads think. And I think like a lot of mothers do too. But once they become adults, you start thinking of them differently. But you know what? This is a topic I'm going to shelve for now, because I'm going to bring in a female guest, and we're going to talk to her about the age of consent. I want to really explore that. I'm just touching on it today a little bit. And we're touching on phobias. I got a couple of them here, so let's go through them. I've been enjoying my phobias. Time for phobias. If you have defecalosiophobia, you have a fear of painful bowel movements. That's right. You need a stool softener because you have a fear of your shit ripping your asshole in half. Let's see. If you have dementophobia, you have a fear of insanity. I'm past it. If you have didescalenophobia, you have a fear of school. Yep, got that one. If you have dipsophobia, you have a fear of drinking. Never had that one. If you have domatophobia, you have a fear of being in a house, which I think explains our homeless situation in this country. If you have dorophobia, you have a fear of fur and skins of animals, which I think my good friend Mr. Sharp does not have. If anything, he's got like the exact opposite of dorophobia. Love that man. And we're also going to do the E's today because the D's should have been from the last show, and I want to do both of them today. Now, this one I definitely have. Ecclesiophobia. I have a fear of church. Damn fucking Skippy. If you have eleutherophobia, you have a fear of freedom. Very common phobia when it comes to prisoners that have been in prison for a very long time. If you have eosophobia, I'm going to assume that you're a vampire because you have a fear of daylight. If you have epheobiphobia, and I think all parents have this at one point or another, you have a fear of teenagers. This one I am thoroughly afflicted with. I have ergophobia, which is a fear of work. And if you have euphobia, well, I think you're a total pussy because that means you have a fear of good news. Who the hell has a fear of good news? Hey, Joe, you won the lottery. Oh, no. What am I going to do with $50 million? Oh, no. And if you have urotophobia, I know I don't have it, and neither does Bill Cosby. It's a fear of female genitalia. Wow. I got to tell you, that's definitely one I don't have. I got to find out if there's a fear of dick, because I'm sure I have it. I have a fear of other people's dicks anywhere near me. I don't want your dick going by me at any point in time soon here. And for a little more celebrity news before the break, Charlie Manson got married. That's right, Charles Manson, 80 years old, in prison, serving a sentence until he's 92 years old, which will occur in the year 2027. He's eligible to get out for his next parole hearing. He is marrying one Tate LaBianca. No, excuse me. No, that's not her name. That's one of his victims, actually. What was he marrying here? Afton Elaine Burton, 26 years old. Holy shit. This man is convicted for, masterminding the murder of several people. And he's got 26-year-old babes pursuing him while he's in prison. Now, mind you, due to the nature of his crimes, though married, he is not eligible for conjugal visitations. So he cannot officially consummate the marriage. But I'm sure she'll be willing to wait till he comes out, and then they can bang away when he's 92. I mean, he won't be quite as vigorous, at the young age of 80 as he is now. But, at 92, I think Charles Manson can still tear that pussy up. Anyway. Time for a break. Here's more Nikki Lindsay King and Don't Box Me In. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. I'll be right back.
Times have changed.
Show the shirts off the cuff. And we're rocking hard. God damn it. Welcome back, Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. I am your host, Joe the Shirt, and this is Off the Cuff. Let's see. When it comes to the economy, you know, whether or not jobs are plentiful or scarce, whether or not the Dow Jones is up or not, you know, whether or not people are spending money in the stores, you know, Christmas shopping or holiday shopping of any kind. The economy, you know, how things are, people buying and selling shit, you know. How does it affect whether or not you have children? Now, believe it or not, generally speaking, when the economy is bad, people tend to have more kids. Believe it or not. It's like, it's true. It's like people, you know, it's like, well, let's see. I got no job. Wife's got no job. Got 4 kids to feed. Got a mortgage. Let's have some more kids. What do you say? Okay, Bubba. Yeah, believe it or not, when the economy is bad, people tend to have more children. Well, I guess, you know, while they're busy not working, they have to get busy getting busy. And thus more children are born. But but something new has happened. Birth control surgeries have become an upswing. Apparently, there's been a higher demand for vasectomies since the recession. According to this, let's see here, more men than usual were calling to discuss sterilization or to schedule a vasectomy from a urologist secretary. And the question was, could financial pressures and the anticipated cost of raising additional children drive men to seek a permanent form of surgical birth control? Let's see. It was found that men were 35% more likely to get a vasectomy after the recession than before it. So when things are good, the guys weren't getting that many vasectomies. But when things went to shit, they decided, well, fuck this. Apparently, now according to Dr. Bobby Najati, there was a statistically significant increase. So significant, it was estimated that the increase translates to roughly 125,000 more vasectomies each year. The recession began in December 2007 and ended in June 2009. Let's see. Najati and Dr. Peter Schlegel consulted the National Survey for Family Growth, which interviewed more than 9,000 single and married men ages 18 to 44 from 2006 to 2010. Among other things, they found that 5.8% of the surveyed men had undergone vasectomies before the recession. The rate jumped to 7.5% after the downturn. They also found that the men were more likely to report a lack of full-time work and insurance in the wake of the recession, as well as a drop in annual income. So, I mean, this is actually, it might be a first, because just like I said, traditionally speaking, when the economy goes to shit, people start having more kids. Now, this is like the most logical thing that I've ever heard about when it comes to reproduction in this country. I don't make any money, or I make very little money, so I'm not going to have kids. Wow, that is perfectly logical, sound, reasonable way of thinking. I don't know how a man ever could have came up with it. Now, before I go any further, I want to make sure I do some animal news. I did some the other day, but you know what? I lost those. Now, believe it or not, there is a new species of frog in, of all places, New York. That's right. Scientists have discovered a new species of frog in New York City, of all places. It's called the Atlantic Coast leopard frog, also known as in Latin Rana caufeldi. Is only the second new frog to be reported in the U.S. and Canada since 1986. The last time a new amphibian was described in New York or New England was in 1882. Amphibians, not frogs now. The frog was discovered by Rutgers University ecologist Jeremy Feinberg. Now, what's really funny here is that the leopard frog has there's 2 types of leopard frogs. There's a southern and there's a northern. And what's really funny is that physically you look at them and they look pretty much identical. northern, southern, okay? But what they were able to distinguish them by, besides after experimenting and checking their genes, they noticed it because of the way that it gave off its mating call. A southern leopard frog goes something along the lines of chuk, 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 chuk. Whereas when they discovered the northern frog, it went more like chuk, chuk, chuk. And thus the new species was discovered. Go fig. Let's see. Also, what else have we get? A group of bison have been taken from Yellowstone National Park and are being released from quarantine after efforts to curb cattle disease. The Sioux Drum Group welcomed the first shipment of wild bison, and a video camera captured the animals galloping around their new home. They had spent 10 hours Thursday traveling from a ranch owned by media mogul and philanthropist Ted Turner near Bozeman. The genetically pure bison that roam Yellowstone National Park could be removed from the park without taking the dreaded cattle disease brucellosis with them. More 18-wheelers filled with bison followed the first shipment until 138 bison were set loose on reservation land. Now, the reason that this is important to them is because people in this country and others do eat bison meat, also known as American buffalo. They do eat bison meat, and I've had bison meat. It's pretty tasty, but bison meat can be on the tough side, can be kind of gamey, and so a lot of times ranchers were interbreeding bison with regular cattle to make the meat a little more palatable, a little not as sinewy, not as tough, a little fattier, and so more palatable to the American palate. But that also exposed them to certain types of bovine diseases, as I said, and thus what they wanted to do was to get the bison population up again, and doing that by making sure that they were genetically pure and quarantined and free of the disease. So, way to go, buffaloes. Okay. Let's see. Earlier this week, San Francisco named the Chihuahua mix dog named Frida as the mayor. Yeah, that's it. Really, it's true. On Tuesday, the mayor of San Francisco was a dog. The city championed animal rights with the Chihuahua mix city official Frida. This is the first time San Francisco has had a dog mayor, said Deb Campbell, spokeswoman for the city animal shelter, the Department of Animal Control and Care. Supervisor Scott Wiener, yes, that's his name, Wiener Dog. Supervisor Scott Wiener Dog will read a commendation for service to Frida at Tuesday's meeting. Then at the subsequent gathering, Frida was to be presented with a further proclamation and a retirement package as she leaves office. That's right, including a deluxe dog bed. Talk about a golden parachute. Okay. Have you ever wondered just how domesticated your cat is? Well, believe it or not that much. While cats may be used as house pets in the modern day, their genomes aren't that far removed from their wild relatives. Apparently, the genetic difference between your cat and a wild cat or an alley cat or a feral cat is really only about maybe 13 genes away in difference. It's really not a lot. Let's see. And the reason that one of the reasons that they're not that far apart is that wild dogs have been domesticated for let's see, the study figures about 30,000 years. The feline has only been allegedly domesticated for only about the last 9,000 years or so. So dogs are way more domesticated than cats are. Cats are still very, very, very feral, very much hunters. When it came to and the domestication of the cat was very similar to the domestication of the dog. Wild dogs, wolves would hang around, people's settlements, and they would go around looking for scraps. Sometimes these people would give the dogs meat, scraps, keep them around because the dogs would get into the habit of sleeping near, say, a village or an area where people were, staying. And if a real major predator came along, or maybe a rival tribe came along looking to kill them, the dogs and wolves would start to bark. They would start to make noise, make a ruckus, and warn the people that there was something wrong going on. In very similar fashion, feral cats were originally domesticated because farmers, would have problems with rodents, mice, rats, moles, anything that likes to gnaw on things. And these cats would go around and, of course, kill and eat the rodents, the vermin, as they were, and this behavior was encouraged by the people living there because, they obviously don't want rodents ruining their crops. So they would occasionally toss out some meat to them. Now, another thing that makes cats still wildly undomesticated compared to dogs is a dog can live on a vegetarian diet. Okay, a dog is not a true carnivore. A dog, at the very bare minimum, needs 20% of his diet to come sorry, my mistake. A dog's diet can be as little as 20% protein and 80% vegetable matter. All right, so you can feed a dog, that dry stuff you're giving him. It may look dry, but there's meat in it. But usually, at most, only maximum about 20% in the dry stuff. The average dog really is his stomach is. He's not a true predator. He's not a true canine. He's not a true. He's not a true meat eater. He's not a true carnivore because his stomach is digestive is not capable of digesting nothing but a pure meat diet. A cat, on the other hand, still can. A cat does not need you to feed it. If it can go outside and hunt on its own, a cat can hunt and kill and feed itself. And also, for the most part, cats don't even need to drink water. You know how you give your cat water, you give him milk sometimes? You don't need to. A cat gets most of its hydration from the meat and blood that it eats. All right. And wrapping up today's animal news. Oh, I love this. The parent company and owner of a Santa Monica restaurant pleaded guilty Monday to federal charges stemming from serving meat from endangered animals. Yes, from investigation occurred in 2009-2010. Typhoon Restaurant Incorporated and owner Brian Vidor each pleaded guilty to one count on unlawful sale of marine mammal at the now closed restaurant called The Hump. Yes, they were selling whale. They're sushi chefs. We're serving whale. You're not supposed to sell whale. And what's really funny is that this came as a result of a sting wherein the restaurants sold packaged whale meat. It was wrapped in plastic. These the police came in, these officers came in, and they were undercover, and they was like, hey, I'd like to get some whale meat. And they were like, I don't know, we're not supposed to sell it. No, man, it's cool, man. I just want some whale meat, man. You know what I'm saying, man? I'm going to tell nobody. I'm not a cop. You sure you're not a cop? Because you're a cop, you got to tell me whether or not you're a cop. I'm like, no, man, I'm not a cop. So then the guy goes in the back, comes up with this package wrapped in plastic, and then the cop goes, so what is this exactly? And the guy goes, oh, this is whale meat. And then the guy goes, this is a badge. The owners and the company themselves were each received 12 to 18 months probation and a $27,500 fine for selling endangered ocean mammals. Well, there you go. I'd eat a whale, I think. Anyway, that's my time. Look, I'm almost out. I got to run. I'm Joe the Shirt. I've been off the cuff. Later.